Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This week, Marvel Zombies Zombicide's The Thing. Yeah, he's part of the Fantastic Four. Again, here's another one I don't know too much about. Maybe back in the day I might know a little more because Fantastic was on fire back then and a little more popular, I should say. But I can't remember exactly. But he's a cool character. His Spider-Man works with him. Spider-Man's my favorite if you guys don't know. Spider-Man has always worked with the Fantastic Four for the most part on a lot of things. But anyway, this should be a fun little paint. Last week we did Iceman, and this week we're doing the Thing, who's Earth. Maybe next week we'll catch a fire or a what do you call them? A wind, maybe storm. I don't know. If you know another wind superhero, if you know it, leave it in the comments below. I appreciate it. Anyway, guys, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. Let's see you guys in there. All right, we did a little spot spray with the burnt orange for the undertone. See there? It looks really nice. And now what we'll do is I'll do a quick mix of these two, more of this than this, and then I will give a general spray over the top, and then I'm going to come back. Again, I keep saying this to repeat it. We're going to use this as the highlight and then some bright ivory with the after that. But we're going to do a mixture of this and do a general spray. All right, let's do it. Here we go. We have the mid-tone down. It's just a mixture of the burnt sienna and the warm brown, the warm golden brown. Is that what it is? No, I'm sorry, the yellow ochre. Okay, so we mixed yellow ochre with burnt sienna to give this mid-tone. And now I'm going to come back with just pure yellow ochre and give it the highlight on the top. All right, let's do it. Got the highlights down with the mix, and now I'm going to add bright ivory to the yellow ochre to give the last final highlights with the airbrush. All right, let's go ahead and do that. So again, we're going to mix yellow ochre and bright ivory to give it a mix. I'm actually just going to add some bright ivory to the pot, and then we'll get our highlights. All right, let's do it. I couldn't help myself. I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit lighter of a highlight here and there. And then when I put the wash on, this is really going to pop out. So I added just pretty much a lot of bright ivory to the already mix that I used. And I'm going to spray just on the top, just in the top areas right here. Nothing down here, maybe right there, but just right here. All right, let's do it. But we got the highlights down with the airbrush done, and it looks terrific. Underneath is darker with a little bit of different color, and the top is highlighted. And I took it a little further on this one with a highlight because I wanted it to pop. And when I get the wash in here, when I use this, I think I'm gonna use a brown wash, maybe a red tone wash. I'm not sure yet, but it's gonna really pop. And then when I come back with the brush and kind of touch up those top areas, it's gonna look great. All right. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get on those pants, and those are going to start off with a dark gray blue. All right, let's do it. We got the shorts down. I just used a mixture of dark gray blue, blue, and sky blue. Those three right there, right? To get the highlights. And then I'll use a shade on that later. And I don't really know what that buckle's supposed to be. I think it's white. I don't even see an image of it, so I'm going to have to figure out what color that buckle is. All right, so now I'm going to work on the ground, and we're going to start with a dark neutral gray. Right there. I added some dark umber to the gray, the dark warm gray, neutral gray, to give just a little bit of color to the rock. All right. Want to stop here for a second. I always like to leave like the main part for the last. So his skin. So we did the skin in the beginning, or his if you want to call it skin, his armor skin or his rock skin. We did that in the beginning, and we did our base, our midtones, and our highlights with the airbrush. And then now I'd like to finish everything else before I go back and do all the highlights on the main event kind of thing. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know that. I like to save the best for the last, and that's him. Because it's going to be fun doing all these little arm. Well, I think it's going to be fun. And sometimes I say that, because there's a lot of highlights to do there. But anyway, I digress. So let's move on to silver, dark aluminum silver for the manhole and the stoplight. All right, let's do it. with the silver or the dark aluminum, I went and I did the signpost, I did the manhole, and I touched up the fire hydrant. And then when I put some wash, it'll dull those down a little bit. It'll make it look, nice, not like it's like freshly scratched or anything. But even if it did, it's just, contrast, right? That's what we're always looking for. All right, so what we're going to do next is, I believe I'm actually going to pull the airbrush out and put some white ink, and I'm going to hit those lights real quick and do a little bit of OSL, I believe, right here. I believe. If not, I'm just going to do a little OSL, little brighter on the bottom one, make it green, and then this one will be yellow and then red. All right, let's do it. I also wanted to come back here. You can do this with the brush. You don't have to pull the airbrush out right now. You can get some white ink or some white paint and dab it in here, in the middle of those lights. Really watered down, and just let it pool, and it'll look like, and then go back and put a spot of white in the middle of the brighter one, and then a smaller one in each of those, and it'll look like, this one's lit up and these just have a little bit of light in behind them. Anyway, you don't have to use the airbrush, you can use a brush, but I'm going to use the airbrush. But now that I said that, maybe that doesn't that sound a little easier than busting out the airbrush? But I love the airbrush, and it's not hard to bust out the airbrush. So I'm going to use the airbrush because I want to practice with the airbrush. All right, let's do it. All right, so I decided I'm going to wait on the OSL with the airbrush because I need to finish everything on that arm before I do that. I was way ahead of myself. I think I was thinking I was going to do it with the brush, because if I did it with the brush, I wasn't going to do anything here. It was just going to be, just directly on the light post rather than OSL'd onto the arm or down in the armpit or on the bottom part. So we're going to do that last, or closer to the end. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to do a wash on the thing. I'm going to get the brown wash going, and I may go over everything. We'll see. I'm going to try and stay in the crevices and see how it looks. But I'm actually, definitely after the end, going to go back and spot with the brush and do touch-ups. All right. So we're going to use a brown wash on the whole body now. All right. Let's do it. Hey, I want to stop for a second, and I'm getting ready to the wash. As you saw in the last clip, we're moving into the wash section. And anyway, I said I was going to use this, I need some light, this Pro Acryl brown wash. And I've used it a handful of times, and I'm just not quite sure if I'm satisfied with it. But the Agrax Earthshade, when I water it down, it pretty much does what I want. It's a little more pliable, in my opinion. I think. I feel like this is more pliable, and this is less forgiving. More forgiving, less forgiving. I'm not quite sure yet, so I don't know which one to do on this because I don't really want any staining. So I think I may go with Agrax to water it down and go that route. But anyway, I just wanted to share that. So you have Citadel, and then you have Pro Acryl, who Pro Acryl paints, hands down, absolutely love them. I love their paints. They're great. And the Citadel paints as well, I'm not going to lie, I like a majority of their paints. They have some nice paints. They're not the greatest, but they're good. They're good. But Pro Acryl hands down. But their washes, and see, Pro Acryl's just getting into the wash game. So they're only a couple washes in, and they're stepping their game up lately. But Citadel's wash is great, and also Army Painter skin tone is probably the better for different. There's different washes for different areas. Anyway, I digress. We're going to use the Agrax Citadel for the shade. Right, and I'm going to test this washout on the hydrant, because that's perfect. All right. Yeah. It's not too dark. It's dark. Not too dark. Now see how that aluminum I put on there kind of fades out a little bit? I like that. That's nice. So it's not so contrasty. That looks pretty good. I may water it down just a little bit more, but that's pretty good for now. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and use the wash on the manhole right now, and then I'll move to the skin, so I can kind of adjust my wash as I go. Did one pass with the wash. I watered it down pretty good, and the first pass was a little thin. This is actually the second pass with the wash. You can see it's kind of thinning out on the top. I want to make sure I get it in the crevices here, and it's looking really nice as is. To be honest, I like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to do another pass. I may actually work on some of the pants, get a little wash on those pants. I still need to do the belt buckle, so we'll get that done. All right, let's do it. These are the original colors for the base on the skin, so I'm going to use these two. I'm going to mix a little bit of the ochre with the burnt red. Actually, I'm going to mix a little bit of burnt sienna with the ochre, and I'm going to use kind of a mid-tone highlight, and then I'm going to use straight ochre, and then I might even go bright ivory. I'm not quite sure yet, but these are the mixes I was using. Let's bring in the ivory. So when all said and done, these are the paints that I will finish off with the highlights, and this just being a smidge in there just to give it the color of the base. All right, let's do it. All right, I think we're done with the skin. What I did is I actually took a little bit of bright titanium white that I had over here on the wet palette, and I just put little tiny spots here and there, right? Just little tiny spots, just on the highest areas to give it that little extra pop, right? That rock looks terrific. I'm really, really happy with that rock. That's really nice. All right, so what we're going to do now is now we've got everything pretty much done. I am definitely going to put some pigment down here, watered down pigment, and cram it in to give it the dusty look, and kind of go up to the ankles, you know, with the dust, and maybe a little bit on the light post here. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and do that. Go ahead. I'm going to say that twice. Actually, I'm going to say that 4 times. Anyway, all right. So I'm going to spray the white ink, the OSL, just real lightly right in here, just to give it a little bit. All right, let's do it. Actually, before I do that OSL, I'm going to go ahead and do the green in here and in the sign real quick. All right, and that green will be just green. Okay, for fun we did a OSL. I took the fluorescent and I sprayed it in there, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to put a white dot right in the center. And I'm going to put, this one's going to be yellow and this one's going to be red. And I'm going to use the fluorescence for those, but they're not going to be so bright, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Well, there you have it, guys. Marvel Zombies Zombicide, The Thing. Yeah, part of the Fantastic Four. Again, here's another guy I don't know too much about, but he's a cool character. Spider-Man hooks up with the Fantastic Four. Spider-Man's my favorite. It's the only reason I bring him up. And I always relate all the superheroes back to Spider-Man because that's kind of what I know. But anyway, fun little character. I'd like to learn a little more, especially when we start playing the game. That's kind of where I start learning a little more about these characters, and maybe we'll play the game sometime. Anyway, guys, we got a lot more stuff coming up. I am going to start switching it up. We're doing all this Crisis Protocol. Or not Crisis Protocol. God, I'm so confused. The Marvel Zombies Zombicide. I've been trucking through a bunch of these, and I would just continue on through the next few years. So I'm going to have to figure something out behind the scenes to get some of these done. But I would like to truck and maybe switch up some. I do have some Crisis Protocol. I do have Marvel Zombies Zombicides. Again, I have a ton of those. It's just burned in my brain right now. I do have Star Wars Legion, Shatterpoint coming up, and I would really like to get to Deep Rock, the tabletop game. The models in that are much bigger scale, and they just look really fantastic, and I'd like to get a little bit of change for me and for you guys. Anyway, with that said, guys, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel, and I'll catch you next week.